Oh, that's Zsolt. Look, in my defense, they look very similar. Alright. Okay, players have chosen their starting characters, and we're going right to setup. They're putting out their reference areas. Let's switch over to TTS. Alright, sorry about that. I did not realize. I hope I didn't get anybody else wrong. Oh, jeez. Okay, so, and this is Zsolt, not Ragna. Zsolt. Zolt's alt account. Okay, it looks like Eugenia's going first. Alright, let me update the... Okay. Alright, so Joalla running Zsolt. Not Ragna. Zsolt. Zain running Eugenia. There we go. Alright, turn 1 parry. Parried cross-up, alright. And do we see a reveal? Nope. So Eugenia's character ability is that when she forces the opponent to discard one or more cards from their hand due to a card effect or whatever, she can reveal a card with the same printed speed from her hand to deal 2 non-lethal damage. So she didn't reveal, which means she probably isn't holding Shimmer of Madness, the speed 6 special that she wants to transform pretty early most games. Alright, we have a light from Zsolt. This telegraphs Whip Crack, a highly reliable special with +2 speed on it. Let's just take a look at Whip Crack. Lots of position and control on that. Is also threatening the highly above curve Blaze of Fervor. Alright, Eugenia initiating into that light. Well, what do we see? I think Whip Crack still beats everything. This is only 1 card. Yep. Okay. Gonna force Zsolt not to come in close, though. Yep. Keeping to range 4. Deals 3 damage. Gets that first transformation into play. Zsolt is a 7th cross character, so he has transformations. This did not go to gauge. This is a transformation. So for the rest of the game, Zsolt has press the attack. Whenever he initiates a strike, he may spend a force for +1 speed. Also, this icon at the bottom right of his character ability, -2, means that his exceed cost is discounted by 2 for each transformation in play. So now he has an exceed cost of 3. Alright, Zsolt prepares, and now we have a reading. Assault into Color Spray. That's pretty devastating. Alright, so Assault comes into range 2, gets hit, and discards 3 cards at random. Losing a Gunblaze, speed 2, a Fanatic Purification, speed 4, and a Wild Hunt, speed 3. So that's 2, 3, and 4. We have a reveal on Plot Hook that matches speed 4, dealing a total of 8 damage, 2 non-lethal from the character ability, 6 from Color Spray. Very high value for Eugenia. She gets a hefty resource advantage here. It's not a true resource advantage in the sense that they both have a very small number of cards, but it's going to be easier for her to reload than for Zsolt to reload most of the time. And, alright, she's initiating. Alright, Zsolt prepared. He's now at 4 cards to her 2. So her options are limited, but so are his. Range 2 is reasonable for both players. She could have picked up the Shimmer later on, so this could be a speed 6 special, meaning it wouldn't be safe for Zsolt to cross out. Anything else, I think he's safe against cross, unless she is playing the Plot Hook. Actually, his cross can still evade Plot Hook. So if he has a cross, it's fairly reliable, only with Shimmer of Madness. We do know she has a Plot Hook in hand, so that's kind of a telegraph. It is Plot Hook, alright, so she hits. She can't pull him, because that is a focus. She does gain advantage, and deals only 1 damage. Zsolt can move up to 1, with the hit effect on his character ability, because focus is a normal. Looks like deciding on that movement. Retreats, and then draws a card. Okay. Yep, Eugenia tried to drag Zsolt in the corner. She did still gain advantage, and she prepares with that advantage. Alright, turn comes back to Zsolt. Alright, Zsolt checking those discards. Initiates. Usually this would be a Blaze of Fervor. And it is. Okay. Advances into the corner, hits for 4 -2 is 2 damage. and then takes 4 in return. However, that is a second transformation, which means that Zsolt now has an exceed cost of 1. Since Zsolt gained advantage due to the effect of Blaze of Fervor, we are likely to see an exceed immediately, but might also sit back and draw some cards first. Yep, prepare. Okay, now Eugenia's turn. We have a parry. Takes out Fatal Eye. Alright, and a reveal with 7. Okay, that is Grasp. There is a slight threat of reading here, however, it's a little bit difficult to punish Grasp at range 1. You have to basically be willing to trade with it, with a sweep or the other focus. Alright, what is this? Time for tea. Alright, so she is, as an action, spinning a force, make the opponent discard a card at random. Speed 5, and no reveal. Okay. Yep, makes sense. She didn't want to hold on to that known Grasp for fear of it being punished by a potential reading play later, so she was just knocking out a resource with the effect of Time for Tea, this transformation here. Alright, turn comes back to Zsolt. Yep, spins a gauge to exceed. Makes sense. Zsolt now becomes Hunter of Men, who is infinitely more flexible. He can play basically multiple attacks during a strike. The subsequent attacks after the first are essentially capped at 1 power, regardless of other factors. And it is costly to do so, but every attack that hits goes to gauge. So it's 1 card for 1 damage, but you're still getting a gauge out of it. We have a parry. Probably looking for that Shimmer of Madness. Ooh. EX Dive, EX Rarelight, and Assault. This is not actually an amazing hand. Like, those EX attacks are great, but not at range 1. Alright. Zsolt writing down that hands. Note taking is allowed. And draws for turn. Okay, we have a change cards 3, getting rid of all those no-normals. Alright, so if Zsolt was hoping to set up a reading, this would be the usual time to do it. The opponent ditches their hand of known normals, but draws into a bunch of fresh cards. So we might see a reading spike. We'd also see virtually any other possible play. This is Zsolt after all. If he can initiate and be confident he's faster than the opponent, he could probably win the strike no matter what happens. Eugenia has a 6 life lead. Resources are roughly even. The big issue right now is that he doesn't have cross-up, which is a transformation he tends to... Battle Fugue, which is the transformation on cross-up. He typically relies on this to sustain his resources in Exceed mode, since he can potentially hit, gain advantage, draw a card, and then do that every single turn, so he's never actually running out of cards. At least that's Zolt's ideal. Alright, so we had a parry and a change cards back to Hunter of Men. I should master these transformations so you know what else he has. So he has the when you initiate, you may spin a force +1 speed. Also, when you initiate, you may spin a force for +1 power. Typically, especially since 1 grasp is down, this would mean that a range 1 cross-up at +1 speed is pretty reliable. That Wearlight in hand actually makes it a little bit more awkward, since Zsolt would then have to use his character ability to chain. Alright, move on, take another action. Okay, clearly not looking to play the cross-up in this position. Well, probably not. Who can say? Yeah, heightened reflexes. Those who have played Season 3 might know this is actually the same effect as Quick Step, a special boost in Ryu's kits. On Zsolt it's an Ultra Boost. In both cases it costs 0, but this means that Zsolt is effectively paying an extra force for the effect. The short version of why this is Zsolt doesn't deserve nice things. We have a sweep into a spike from hands. Interesting. Not sure what the reason for that was. I didn't see a reading. So going to hit for 6, take out a card, and then Zsolt may use his character ability to pay a force to play another attack. He's already beaten the spike cleanly. Looks like he is declining to do that. It is now Eugenia's turn. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that as a responding spike from hand, and I'm not sure why that would have happened. If it was a wild swing, it makes a lot more sense. Alright, Zsolt needs to make a choice. Either gets pushed 3 or discards 2 cards at random. Yeah, the likeliest reason to play the spike from hand there is just to have it out of the hand in case you're afraid of reading. Alright, Zsolt allows himself to get pushed back. This makes sense. He still has, I believe, a copy of Blaze of Fervor and a copy of Whipcrack left, so it's not like he's out of range for options. There's also one copy of Gunblaze. Life is even, resources are roughly even. Eugenia did drop that EX dive, unfortunately. Zsolt prepares. Eugenia is initiating. Both Blaze of Fervors, you mean? Since Zsolt actually has 2 cards with Blaze in the name, Gunblaze and Blaze of Fervor. So you can't just say Blaze. Sorry. Are both Fervors down or are both guns down? I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm responding to chat even though I don't have the chat on the screen. That might be a little more confusing. I'm hoping it will still be a better viewing experience, but, you know, I'll evaluate later whether it was worth it. Alright, someone in chat says both Fervors are down. Okay. Alright, it is Absinthe and Arrow, and it is Gunblaze. Alright, that is pretty good for Zsolt. Yep, so he draws a card, discards 2 cards at random. This is due to the effect of Absinthe and Arrow. Speed 7 and 4 to Sheer Reveal. Sheer Reveal's Plot Hook. Yep, alright. So that deals a total of 4 damage. And now Zsolt has a before effect to either get +2 power or draw 2 cards. Which of these you take is very, very dependent on the player and the situation. I know I personally pretty much always take the draw. Yep, looks like that's the draw, and then hit close 3. And now Zsolt may choose to play additional attacks if he prefers. He will probably not do so, since there's not much reason to do it during this strike when he can just take his turn as normal, and then play whatever he wants to in this situation. And it looks like he's just going to initiate with +1 something. Probably speed. That's going to be an invalid Queen of Hearts. It is the cross. And it's the sweep. Alright. She takes 3. Zsolt may perform another attack. Now, Eugenia is not stunned. She's only taken 3 damage. So Zolt's not really going to be able to stun her if he wants to play additional attacks here. That makes this a little awkward for him. Typically, Zsolt would want to actually like play a Whipcrack and then a Blaze of Fervor to gain advantage. However, doing that would... Oh, sorry, Blaze of Fervor was down. Well, Whipcrack and then Assault, for example. However, doing that would result in him actually getting hit by that sweep, which he very much does not want. That was, I believe, a Wild Swing sweep, too, which, if accurate, means that would actually have an additional discard effect on it. So it would hit for potentially up to 8 damage and rip out a bunch of cards. Zsolt can't really afford that. Like, if he takes a trade that bad on any given strike, he can lose this game. Just immediately. Alright, striking looks like +1 speed. Probably the Whipcrack. Hard to say. Probably, yeah, so dive, Whipcrack, Gunblaze? No, I think both Gunblazes are down now, yeah. So dive or Whipcrack are the threats. It's not really a clean way to beat this. Like, you can play a focus. I think you're out of blocks. Yeah, there's the Whipcrack. Alright, so that's an invalid Queen of Hearts. And that's the cross. Oh! That actually does cleanly beat the Whipcrack. Alright, After Effects needs to advance or retreat 1. Yeah. Zsolt is at range 4 or 6, not 5. Probably going to move in. Zsolt does not have a lot to do at long range. Yep. Alright, Zolt's going to count his cards. Trying to decide what range is better. Eugenia still has one copy of Absinthe and Arrow, I believe, which means that she has a threat that is viable at range 6 that Zsolt just can't really do anything about. Oh, he does refuse to retreat, okay. Well, it's now Eugenia's turn. Alright, ooh. She's going to boost Edge of Insanity, forcing Zsolt to discard a card at random. Speed 0, no reveal. Now, if Zsolt were to take the prayer action, he doesn't get to draw a card, meaning he only draws for end of turn. He's going to change cards too, getting rid of both spikes. Spike is a very useful card to combo into, using his Exceed ability. And here we have a Time for Tea, dropping that spike, discarding a Fanatical Purification, probably revealing the plot hook we saw earlier. Yep, there we go, dealing 2. Makes sense. This is a resource chokehold. This is the kind of thing that, or stranglehold rather, this is exactly what Eugenia wants to do. It's very, very difficult for Zsolt to get out of the situation, because he has to pay resources to do anything. He could initiate a strike with the Wild Swing, but he's guaranteed to lose that strike in almost all cases, right? Alright, so he runs in. Yep, putting him at range 3. This is threatening Fatal Eye, although he can't play Fatal Eye into Spike. And we have a Time for Tea. Yep, she's going to keep on burning those resources out. There's the Fatal Eye. Alright, speed 7. Do we have a reveal? Negative. Alright, so he can't play. He's lost both Fatal Eyes and both Spikes. It is Zolt's turn, but again, resources are steadily accruing on Eugenia's side. Zsolt may choose to reshuffle soon. He is out of eyes, out of gun blazes. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he probably wants back in his deck. Yep, there's the reshuffle action. And draws for end of turn. Okay, it is now Eugenia's turn. She's going to continue this Time for Tea rampage. Takes out an Assault. Do we have a reveal? Negative. Suggesting that she does not have the Absinthe and Arrow in hands. Or at least didn't a second ago. She might now. You'll notice also that Eugenia is discarding normals to pay for Time for Tea. This helps to prevent her from having a known hand over time. It's very common to, for example, reveal for your ability and then discard that card next turn with Time for Tea, so that the information you're revealing doesn't actually get used against you. Alright, it is now Zolt's turn. He is in a very awkward situation. If he strikes, he becomes vulnerable to Color Spray, although it would only hit him for a 6 at this time. Preparing only draws him a single card. Changing cards obviously gets him only a little more than he puts into it. He might consider boosting, depending on what boost he has available. He's at 9 life. Those familiar with Zsolt might remember the boost Seeing Red. Alright, let's see. Change cards too. Alright. Discarding a Dive and Whip Crack. Yep, putting it at that hand threshold of 3. That is notable because the attack on Color Spray has stun immunity thrown as 2 or fewer cards in hands. So if he were to respond with hand against, or from hand against the Color Spray, she would have stun immunity and get her hit in. Most likely. It does depend a bit, though. Zsolt, being Hunter of Men, can chain cards in all kinds of ways. Alright. At this point in the game, I think we have seen 0 Shimmers of Madness. Eugenia is probably holding at least one, maybe both. She might choose to transform it if she does. She could also just continue using Time for Tea to press her foot down on Zolt's neck. Yep, here we go, Time for Tea. Hits a 0. No reveal. We know that she has no 0 speed cards left in her deck. The reason we know that, by the way, is that both of her blocks went down earlier, and she has no specials with a printed speed of 0. Her specials and ultras have printed speeds of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's Cat's Cradle, Color Spray, Wearlight, Plot Hook, Absinthe and Arrow, Shimmer of Madness, Queen of Hearts, in that order. Alright. Zsolt needs something to help him escape this pressure. This is it. Looks like he's considering striking. Noting that she doesn't have the +2 power transformation in play. Let me just mouse over that. Yeah, hanging by a thread here. Alright, we have a strike with +1 something. We don't know if it's power or speed. Probably figure out in a second. It is the color spray. Okay, so yeah, here we have Fatal Eye going to hit for at least 3 power, probably 4. Yeah, that was 4. Okay, so he paid for power. Yep. Does not stun her. He does get an advantage. He decides if he's gonna... Oh, he can't play any other cards. His character ability costs a force, so there's no way he could play another card here. And then he takes 6, but her hit effect actually lets him draw a card, and he gains advantage. This may have been worth it for him. We'll see how he makes use of it. 5 life to 3. If he drew Gunblaze, he could probably just win the game instantly. If not, she still has the edge. Evil Eye would also be tolerable, although not guaranteed. Not being able to draw for gaining advantage is really hurting in this game. That early parry was pretty clearly worthwhile. Alright, is he going to try to close the game in a hurry, or is he going to prepare? Or change cards? Or boost, maybe? Who can say? Now, she has 3 gauge, and I think we have seen both copies of Queen of Hearts down, but only 1 copy of Cat's Cradle. So she is threatening this Ultra, which would almost certainly kill him, as long as she doesn't get killed first. At 5 life, that is a very real risk. Of course, I think she also has an outstanding copy of Absinthe and Arrow. I'm not sure of the normals, I haven't been tracking. Alright, Eugenia checking Hunter of Min's discard pile. Okay. Just saw actions going on this side of the field. Alright, players counting cards. As a side note, for those of y'all who play on Tabletop Simulator, you may have noticed that when Zain went to shuffle his hand, he accidentally moved a card out of his hands, rendering it momentarily visible. Please be careful. When you're clicking and dragging, make sure that you are not holding anything when your click goes down, so that you don't accidentally drag stuff out of where it's supposed to be. Problems that don't happen as often in real life. 100 Min needs to be pretty careful here. We can be pretty confident that Seeing Red is not in that hand, otherwise... Well, otherwise that would be boosted immediately. Let me just mouse over Seeing Red. This boost. Oh, what's this? Paying for either speed or power. Okay, this is it. This is the mix-up that will win the game, one way or another. Oh my goodness. What a bait. Okay, so that was a cross-up. I believe that was a Wild Swing, actually? I think that was an act of desperation, yeah. Gets hit by the Cat's Cradle. Okay, Speed Wild Swing or Power Wild Swing, either way. Alright, yep, draws a card, discards 2 at random, and then this has 8 power, yeah. Sorry, I thought that was from hand. But yeah, no. I thought that was a cross-up from hand with the craziest of mind games. But no, that was a wild swing. Just looking to end the game on that probabilistic edge. Did not work out. Wild swinging out of a deck that large, not the greatest of odds. Okay. Alright, that'll end game 1. So let me go back to the setup screen. Okay. So that's game 1, Zain's Eugenia, over Matex's Zsolt. Going into game 2, Eugenia is retired, so we have Sea Viper and 9 still available. And then Hakumen, 9, and Zsolt still available. Players are currently choosing their next characters. I'll transition back to TTS once they've been put into play. Yeah, so the winning character retires, right? Have I got this right? I've streamed enough of these, you'd think I'd remember. Then again, I also said Ragna when it's definitely Zsolt. Look, they both have a green left eye, a red right eye, they wear red, they go berserk, they attack a bunch of people, they like advantage chains. I feel justified here. Okay, game 2, gonna be Zsolt versus Sea Viper. Alright, oh, I should probably update the thing on the left. That becomes an X, and that becomes a check. It's a little ugly, bear with me. I'll just do this while the players are still sitting up, it's fine. Okay, and then we have a Zsolt, and then we have a Sea Viper. Specifically the text layout is ugly. I like the elements just fine, but I don't have them arranged very neatly. Good enough. Alright. Zsolt, having lost the previous game, chooses to go first. Could have chosen to go second. It is your choice. You're not required to do either. Alright. Viper, a highly aggressive character from Street Fighter. After you resolve a continuous boost, you may strike. That means when it enters play, by the way. Resolve does not mean when it's discarded. It means when it enters play after any immediate effects have been performed. So basically she can boost and strike. On her turn, mind you. She is notably pretty underwhelming on defense, but very, very powerful on offense thanks to her character ability. This is probably going to come down to whether or not Viper can rush down Zsolt and just kill him, probably even before he exceeds. However, Zolt's attack shapes are pretty good at Viper at range, so he's probably going to try to stick out to range 4. Yep, so this is probably Whip Crack or Blaze of Fervor, and on-curve Whip Crack is actually pretty difficult for Viper to beat if she doesn't have any X. She crosses out of the Whip Crack. Alright, we're going to see that after effect move him into range... Ooh, reconsidering. Yep, takes range 7. Yeah, at range 5, Viper actually does have one attack that hits, Seismic Hammer. Normally fairly underwhelming, Seismic Hammer nonetheless beats anything Zsolt can throw. So, alright, we have a parry. Takes out that cross-up. Alright, that is one Whip Crack and one cross-up down. Zsolt is not going to have an easy time setting up this game. Viper herself, however, not really good at moving in from here. So this is probably a Dive Assault or a Seismic Hammer just for movement, or it could be another block just for gauge. Nonetheless requires Zsolt to respond to something. It is the block, okay. Yep, he plays Grasp, apparently just trying to get the normal out of his hands. Doesn't want to risk wild swinging a card with the transformation that he might find valuable. Alright, it is now Viper's turn. Checking that discard pile. Prepares. Some very efficient dismantling of Zolt's preferred options. That was a change card 0 action. Interesting. Zsolt really not wanting to discard things. Viper does the same. This feels meme-worthy. Alright, Zsolt moving into range 5. That puts him under threat of Seismic Hammer. He could still beat it by playing the other copy of Cross-Up, although he probably doesn't want to. Can't believe both players did a change card 0. That definitely feels like a meme, like a joke. It's not shocking for one player to do it, but it usually means that the other one has to change the board state immediately. Alright, she moves into range 3. Okay, both players now have a lot of life threats. Surprising that she didn't actually just sit back and let him sweat at range 5, where she has a card that he doesn't. Alright. Range 3, everything is live. Ooh. Sorry for the moment of lag there. I think we're good again. It is Zolt's turn. Well, at range 3, initiating against Viper is pretty reasonable. I mean, she doesn't have anything above curve. Alright, gonna move 1, take another action, move to range 2. Probably looking to land that cross-up. Oh, nope, maybe not. Debating boosting, to the look of it. If he has a cross-up, he knows it's guaranteed to land, but it doesn't mean it'll win the strike. He could still get hit by a sweep or a spike. However, as long as he lands cross-up, he's probably pretty happy. That transformation is very valuable. The fact that he bothered to move in the first place suggests probably not throwing Blaze of Fervor. Yeah, both characters here have slightly similar favorite ranges. However, Viper is almost certainly better at 2, and Zsolt is clearly better at 4. 3 is where they seem to be roughly even. Alright, Zsolt initiating. Could be cross up, and she wild swings. It is a sweep, it is a Seismic Hammer, unfortunately going to get outsped by that sweep. Yep, Seismic Hammer at speed 1. It has a critical effect, but she did not critical that wild swing. Alright, Zsolt with the hit effect discards an assaults from her hand, and then he chooses 2 retreats. Makes sense. He knows she's down at that on-curve option now. Alright, she initiates with +2 speed, using her character ability. So, boost, +2 speed, and then strike. It is assault into block. Alright. Reason for both players. Zsolt takes the damage instead of paying cards. Viper has initiative. At this rate, looks like she'll be able to exceed pretty quickly. Viper's Exceed is very high value for a couple reasons. The main one being, well, arguably the main one, being that it lets her... Ooh, here we go. Hit, spin up to 4 force, reach 4 spin, +1 power. Now, she doesn't have a lot of force to back this up. She only has 1 card in hand and 2 gauge. So, only if that's an ultra can she actually pay the full 4. We'll find out in a second. It is a sweep into a cross-up. Oof. Alright. Yep. He hits for 4 and evades. She is denied that 3rd hit, meaning she will not have 3 gauge. She currently cannot exceed. He also has a transformation in play. With 1 more transformation or 1 more gauge, he can exceed. He prepares, probably digging for both copies of Blaze of Fervor, so he can take the play transformation action, affectionately nicknamed the EX Transform. She prepared as well. A little thin on options now. Really needed not to lose that mix-up against the cross-up. Alright, Zsolt boosts Fierce, +2 power. She boosts Hidden Weapons, draw 2 out of this gauge. She pays for it with a burst time, which is interesting, because that is an ultra, so she paid that to generate 1 force, when it would be worth 2 in other situations. She now has 3 gauge, though, so she's probably going to either exceed next turn, or look to get rid of the rest of that hand and then exceed. For those not familiar with Viper, she has when you exceed, draw 5 cards. This helps her maintain offensive pressure relentlessly, because she can throw all her cards away, then exceed, reload, then keep throwing cards away. She also has a boost that's specifically designed for that purpose, but we haven't seen it come into play yet. Alright, we have a reading. Successful. Alright, Gunplay is going to hit for 5 and bring Zsolt into melee. He also gets rid of this Grasp, which is actually a pretty solid value because that is a +2 power boost that Viper can then play and then strike on her turn. Alright, so will she strike now, or will she exceed? Note that Zsolt now has attained 3 gauge. With 3 gauge 1 transformation, he can exceed on his turn as well. Alright, when you exceed draw 5, you will then draw 1 for end of turn and have to discard down to your hand size. 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 2 cards. So Viper needs to discard 2 cards. Loses a spike and a dive. Alright. Zolt's turn. Zsolt probably wants to get a second transformation instead of actually paying out 3 gauge to exceed. He prepares. Still, with this hefty life lead, he's in a decent position. It's not a great position because he's up against the Viper. She can level this out in a hurry. Like, when you think about it, 13 damage is just 3 good strikes that you won cleanly. In Viper's case, it might even be 2. Oh right, I should also mention that now that she's in Exceed mode, when she uses her character ability to strike, her attack is automatically critical. Normally you would have to pay a gauge to make your attack critical. So she plays a boost, a continuous boost, and then strikes. As a result of playing that boost, her attack is critical. This is nice. Alright, we have Exoskeletal Strike, plus 3 armor, plus 1 guard. And an EX response. Alright, it is Thunder Knuckle into EX Assault. EX Assault has 5 power, over 3 armor, does 2 damage, breaks that guard. Alright, and because Zolt's hits, because Zsolt gains advantage, Battle Fugue will cause him to draw a card. Alright, Zsolt initiating with 1 card. Oh, Cross gets caught by a grasp. She can now choose his positioning. Range 1, 2, or 3. So it's push or pull 1 or 2. She decides to push 1 and it's now her turn. Alright, Stylish, here we go. Gives the opponent plus 3 power. Lets her draw 3 cards, take another action. So this is another, so this is the boost that is the Viper playstyle, at least in my opinion. You give your opponent access to a lot of power, but you get to draw cards and keep going. This helps you maintain your offensive momentum, so you don't have to waste turns preparing. The thing that, as a rushdown character, you don't want is for your opponent to have time to draw their answers. So boosts like Stylish and effects like her Exceed Kicker, as we call them, when you exceed draw 5 cards, help you rush through your deck before the opponent gets through theirs. She's given Zsolt a lot more time than she probably wants, but you'll note that she is still 9 cards deeper into her deck. Sorry, 12 cards deeper into her deck than Zsolt is. Having drawn out her deck, she's going to tip her hand as a courtesy. This is not required. This is not in the rules. This is just a common way for players to save their opponent's time. Her hand is effectively known because there's no hidden information left other than her hand, so Zsolt can just count cards and figure out what's left in Viper's hand. Alright. I believe there is still a Fatal Eye up on Zolt's side of the fields. So she is under threat. However, we do see 2 foci, so there might be a reading play, or there might be a cheater into lights, into mix-up. So cheater is the boost on Temple Massage, search this card for a continuous boost. You may play it paying all costs. If she were to put plus 2 speed into play, then she would be able to control the mix-up, because Cross would be guaranteed successful against everything, but she could also play something potentially much more punishing. Or we could have a reading, which is potentially deadly if it goes off. So notably, if she loses this strike, she probably loses the game, because Zsolt has plus 6 power right now. But if she doesn't, then she got full value out of these by drawing a ton of cards. And if she can gain advantage, she'll actually probably be in an advantageous position. We have a reading. We have a strike. We have a crit. Ooh, unsuccessful. We do see the eye. Alright, well, she's probably dead. Not dead, actually. But yeah, this is the critical seismic hammer, and that is a speed 7, power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, she takes 8, and Zsolt draws a card. Alright, that failed reading will probably lose her this game. Yeah, he has, excuse me, a sweep, a dive, and a Blaze of Fervor. Alright. Well, if it had worked, it would have been great. It didn't, so that's probably the game. It might seem like I'm calling it a little early, but with a 20 life discrepancy, an entirely known hand, and a Zsolt whose turn it is, he just has to find a way to make use of that information. And you probably don't get to top 8 in a 40-odd person tournament if you don't know how to make use of this information. Alright, Zsolt initiating with a single card. Yep, it's cross, makes sense. Cross is the thing that is safe against that entire hand. Viper draws for her after, prior, yeah, there you go. That forces the reshuffle, the automatic reshuffle, I should say. She whiffs. Zsolt did not gain advantage. Now, playing that focus does mean that Viper doesn't necessarily have the second reading on tap. Not that it would be really trivial for her to punish anyway, because the two remaining known cards, I think, are Sweep and Dive. Alright, Zsolt looking like he wants to actually build into a Wild Hunt, but probably just trying to play safe, be conservative. He has a 21 life lead now. If he doesn't throw it away, he can probably win this pretty reliably. Viper's going to have a hard time winning every strike from here to the rest of the game. Especially since we know she doesn't have access to Stylish, unless you do it with it after. Alright, she's just going to strike. Raw strike, 1 card from hands. Well, this suggests a dive. It could also be a Seismic Hammer, which would be pretty funny. Both of those lose to Gunblaze, so if he has a Gunblaze, I think that's what he plays. Oh, it's cross, okay. Baiting the response. He comes in. Alright, it is now Zolt's turn. Ooh, range 4. Not great for Viper. I believe he still has a Blaze of Fervor. I don't know if it's known or not, but feels like Blaze of Fervor. Even if it's merely on curve, there's not much she can do against it. She could potentially block or play the other copy of Cross if she happens to have them. At this point, though, she would have to wild swing them, I'm pretty sure. Viper deciding whether it's worth playing anything from hands, and wild swings. That's an invalid ultra. Zolt's played, yep, the Blaze of Fervor. She needs a cross or a block. She got the cross! Holy cow. Alright, she retreats range 5. He misses. Yep. Alright, it is Viper's turn. That last card in Zolt's hand is a sweep, I believe. She might actually still have options here. She boosts hidden weapons. Yep, draw 2, add this to gauge, cost 4, so she pays with the dive. Yeah, Zolt's probably going to change cards instead of exceeding, honestly. With only 1 card in hands, he is now very vulnerable to her pressure. So change card, or sorry, paying 2. He might not be changing cards, he might be exceeding. He might be moving. I don't know, he's paying these cards from gauge for something. Whether it's movement, draw, or exceed, we can't tell yet, because he hasn't paid a 3rd. Nope, change cards too. Okay. Alright, see Viper's turn. Two forced to move into range 3. Alright. It's fair. If she can survive this turn, she has pretty good odds. Alright, Zsolt boosts that light that we saw earlier. She techs it. Pretty standard exchange. Like most 7th cross characters, Zolt's continuous boosts are primarily found among the normals. Alright, she responds with block to the spike. Alright, that'll be lethal. Yep. Telegraphing the other Blaze of Fervor, he successfully calls it out. He also had a Fatal Eye available, although it would not have killed. Alright. That's game 2. Good game. Okay, let's switch back to our transitional screen. While the players choose the final matchup. So Zsolt is out and Eugenia is out. Let's see. Okay, so that means Matex has 9 and Hakumen, Zain has Sea Viper and 9. We could see a 9 mirror match. That'd be pretty funny. I don't know. Players often avoid mirror matches. They are not considered especially popular. Let's see if I can get this looking right. Let's see Viper down. Players choosing their characters. Whose name did I say? 9 the Phantom. She is on both teams. You want to see a Polar Knight mirror match? That would be very surprising in this set of characters. Alright, looks like we have 9 the Phantom versus Sea Viper. Let me switch back to the game. Players setting up the references. Same kind of story. As in most Sea Viper games, Sea Viper probably just wants to rush down, kill as fast as possible. 9's late game is less dominant than Zolt's. She's not a 7th cross character, but she does have a lot of tools. So 9 the Phantom's character ability. Be given one of each of your ultras and specials sealed. So she starts with a good chunk of her deck in her sealed area. However, she also has more cards than most players to begin with. Most characters, I should say. So she has actually a total of 7 specials instead of just 5. And then she also has 2 ultras. So she'll start with 1 copy of all of them sealed, but that still leaves her with a deck of 25 cards, a little bit more than you would typically have in that case. Whenever she seals a card, she'll return a sealed card with the same printed speed to her hand. So if she seals a copy of Spike or a copy of Kunzite, she'll get Kunzite into her hands. If she seals Navy Pressure or Focus, she'll get Navy Pressure. Or if she sealed a Focus earlier, then she seals one of those and she gets back to Focus. So it lets her manipulate her current options at any given time. She also gives her attacks an effect that says, hits if there is no sealed copy of her attack. She made a card from her hand to her gauge, she can clean up seal her attack. This basically lets her juggle cards. She puts a card from her hand to her gauge, then the card that would normally go into her gauge goes to her sealed area, and then the card from her sealed area comes to her hands. You'll probably see it in action soon enough. That's assuming she hits attacks, but that's fairly likely. She has above curve openers, although it is going to be Viper going first. Yeah, so at range 4, Viper has Dive and Seismic Hammer. 9 has technically a Navy Pressure, although it's hilariously unsafe. But also Kunzite, Morganite, Emeralds. Alright, 9 initiating with +2 speed and strike. Okay, well the Telegraph here is Dive. It actually outspeeds anything 9 can throw. The question is, does 9 throw a speed 4 or faster attack to try to keep Viper honest, or does she just accept that Dive's coming in? It's Dive, it's block, yep, okay. Alright, so 5 power. 9 will either pay a force, or 2 force, or take 1 or 3 damage. Alright, pays 1, takes 1, okay. It is now 9's turn. She's not amazing at close range, but she does have normals, and actually a slightly better density of normals than most characters. Alright, it is Viper's turn. Stylish. Here we go. Draw 3, take another action. Exoskeletal. Okay. Practically negates the drawback of Stylish. And strike. With a single card. Yeah, so the only situation where Exoskeletal doesn't negate the drawback is if the opponent has Ignore Armor. However, it's fairly unlikely that Kunzite gets played at range 1. It can happen, but not often. Looks like Nine's reviewing that reference set. This attack is not critical, notably. Viper does have some pretty potent range 1 criticals, but she usually won't pay the gauge until she's already exceeded. And even then she doesn't usually have to pay gauge in the first place. Her biggest range 1 crit is definitely Temple Massage's critical hit, draw 3 cards. It reinforces that resource flow, which, as I described already, is really, really valuable for a rush-down character. Alright, 9 has to call this out. The hesitation suggests that she probably doesn't have a sweep or focus, since those are pretty reliable range 1 plays, and this is no exception. It's cross, okay. So the cross will hit for 6 minus 3 equals 3. 9 may use her character ability, so she does not have a copy of cross in her sealed area, so she may add a card from her hand to her gauge. Alright, she does. You'll see the payoff in a minute. Then she retreats, and now Viper will sweep a card out of 9's hands and deal 6. Alright, got rid of the Flame Punisher. Now at the end of the strike, cross goes to the sealed area, which means that Emerald comes back to hands. So yeah, the cards kind of move in a circle. Alright, that was Viper's turn. It's now 9's turn. There's a known Emerald in hands, which at range 3 is above curve, so 9 is kind of implicitly threatening that. Where's the actual reference set? This? Yeah. Alright, 9 initiates. Viper Wild Swing. It's not going to waste resources on this. Ooh, okay. Assaults into a Wild Swing cross. Viper backs out to range 4, which is not great for her, but probably better than losing the strike cleanly and giving 9 advantage. Alright, we have a defend and strike. Okay. 9 could just play the Emerald here, however, it's definitely not going to stun through that defense. Emerald is safe because it has push 1, retreat 1 as a hit effect, so she would outspeed and then establish long range. Yep. So she pays a force. Hit, push 1, retreat 1. And also, since she doesn't have a copy of Emerald sealed, she may add a card from hand to gauge to swap it back for the cross and end of strike. Now Viper, because she's not stunned, is still going to get the positioning that she wants out of this. Looks like deciding not to use the hit effect on 9's character ability, Viper advances 3, and that's the end of the strike. Alright. That was Viper's initiative. It's now 9's turn. That's both copies of Emerald down already. We might see them again later, because 9 can recur cards through the use of her character ability. Initiating with 1 card. Sweep into Grasp. Alright, gonna knock out that last card. And hit for 6. Ooh, stylish. You hate to see it go. Alright, well, it's Viper's turn. Left with no cards in hand. She's probably going to either prepare or Wild Swing. Chooses to prepare. 9 does the same. Alright, we have +2 power and strike. It is emergency combination. That is a power 7. Incom. Whew. Also gets Viper that... Oh, what? 3rd gauge. Alright, 9's turn. Probably going to look to exceed fairly soon. Exceeding gives her a lot more control over her recursion, and it helps it to happen without wasting other turns. Alright, boost Uberova and Jungy. Now draw 2. After the opponent's stun, they must discard 2 cards at random. This is an extremely punishing boost. If this effect ever goes off effectively, it can be a game changer. Just the way it nukes the opponent's resources. Alright, Viper exceeds naturally, draws 5, then 1 for end of turn, and now 9 exceeds. And Viper moves in to range 2. Okay. Alright, Viper's start of turn. Alright, so Overdrive. So she discards a card from her from her Overdrive area. And then after doing that, she may seal a card from her discard pile, which, thanks to the other half of her character ability, will return a card of the same printed speed to her hands. So she can start to shape her hands to have the answers that she needs at any given time. Looks like she is sealing a Grasp to pick up a Lapis Lazuli of Lamentation. And she boosts her range. Yep, makes sense. So she has Androdite of Cord in play. So she is threatening that speed 7 attack at range 2. Alright, Viper's turn. Viper can still control the mix-up here, although 9's responses are pretty scary. Viper initiating with a single card. Interesting. It's Block, it's Grasp, okay. So 9 has 2 hit effects. She will push 2 and then she will choose to retreat 2 with Androdite, which obviously stops her at the wall. This is nowhere close to stunning Viper. Viper may either take 1 or just pay a force. Choose to take 1, okay. Alright, 9 during cleanup could choose to pay a force to seal her attack. That's, by the way, the replacement for her hit effect on front side. So instead of the hit effect, which requires you not to have a copy sealed, you have a cleanup effect, which costs a force, instead of being gauge neutral, but lets you seal regardless of whether you hit, and regardless of whether a copy is already sealed, so you can recur the same card if you have the resources to spend on it. Alright, so for her Overdrive, she discards a copy of Naval Pressure, and then she'll be sealing something. Decent number of options here. Ooh, 9 cards in deck, 9 cards in discard. I like that. It's very thematic. If I convention, a lot of players will keep the Astral separate, even though technically it is in sealed area. But 9 doesn't have any speed 9 cards to seal, so she can't really get it back. Alright. Seals Flame Punisher, returning Flame Punisher. And now she has her actual turn. Nine caught it. Okay. Yep. See Viper getting ahead of herself. Didn't actually let 9 take an action yet. That could be a problem. Yeah, I didn't notice what card was shown, but just giving your opponents free information is usually a bad thing. She's up a little life, but she's definitely down on positioning. And since 9 only has 1 gauge, she can't actually threaten that Flame Punisher. Alright, she boosts Citrine of Change, attacks range 4 greater, don't hit you. Goes gauge at the start of her next turn, but for this turn at least, she is safe against Seismic Hammer. Looks like Viper chooses to prepare accordingly. Yep. Alright, so 9 gets the gauge automatically. And then also discards a card from Overdrive. These, by the way, both happen at the start of a turn, so she could do it in either order. Doesn't really matter because nothing's going to change Citrine of Change going to gauge. Alright, so she discards the Emerald, and now we'll be sealing something. Typically 9 would seal something like an Assault or a Focus. The Assault would reinforce her mix-up threat here, because she would have an above-curve Speed 5 attack, Morganite of Malice. Or she would have a Speed 0 attack, which, there it is, Flame Punisher. Alright, she does seal the Assault. Yep, picking up Morganite, so she has range 5 mix-up. Shuffling the hand, probably going to strike. She also implicitly has Kunzite and Navy Pressure. Those both lose to, what, critical seismic hammer? Oh, she's actually just going to boost the Train of Change again. Okay. Dodging attacks range 4 or greater. Yep, Viper has no way to move and then strike in the same turn, so she knows that she is basically safe for a turn. She will be leaving Exceed mode next turn, however. Alright, Viper counting those discards. We might see a cheeky reading coming out here. There's fairly few readings that would actually be helpful, right? Assault and Dive are basically the only choices. Because anything else, Viper is still going to dodge. We have a reading. And strike. And success! Hits the dive. Okay. Dive comes into range 2, gets hit for 5. Viper also has positioning control. Looks like she chooses to take range 1. During cleanup, 9 may choose to pay a force to seal her attack. Looks like she declines. Still thinking about it, actually. Nope. Okay. Alright, Viper start a turn. Overdrive, she discards a sweep, and then she will seal a card of her choice from her discard pile. Alright, sealing a focus, returning a Navy Pressure. Navy Pressure is very low value at range 1, but the boost is pretty decent. She will flip back, yep. Where's Navy Pressure? Here it is. Yep, there it is, Healator of Humility. Gonna seal a card from hand, sealing Flame Punisher to pick a Flame Punisher. Interesting, okay. Not actually looking for the hand sculpture then, she's just trying to get some armor and guard into play so that she can have a better defense against Viper's next attack. Alright, we have +1 power ignore armor, and this looks like an EX attack. Whew, this could be big. It can't be lethal, but it could be big. Viper doesn't have the requisite gauge to actually threaten more than, 9 damage in a turn? 9's still a lot. If you were wondering, 9 is still a lot of damage. EX also makes this safe against Azerite Inferno. Azerite is speed 8. Very, very fast, but only does 2 damage. There's also no possible way for 9 to EX this, since whenever she seals a copy, the other copy goes to her hands. And the only speed 8 card that she has is Azerite Inferno, so it's not like she can seal anything else to get both copies. Alright. Okay, wins the speed tie with the cross, hits for 5. Yep, so that is EX Thunder Knuckle, which was critical, thanks to its effects. It didn't actually matter in this case, because it broke the guard. 5 damage, alright. It is now 9's turn. Viper's a little low on resources. This is a pretty reasonable time to try to take advantage and take control of the set. Nope, you're just going to boost the Flax Nurture, alright. Draw 3, shuffle 2 cards from hand, back in the deck. Typically, you should shuffle your hand when you do this, but, you know, no big deal. Alright, then shuffles the deck and draws a card for end of turn. Okay. It does give 9 some control over what's left, or what's available to her, which could be really, really important right now, because she needs specific answers. That said, she's almost out of deck. So, like, she's just going to have those tools anyway. Alright. 9's turn. I think we're still... Okay, alright, she's initiating with 1 card. Viper plays Focus. Okay, gets hit by the Amethyst. That will stun her, but 9 does not get advantage. Yep. So Amethyst hits for 5, minus 2 armor is 3. It is now Viper's turn, since the push failed. Alright, she's going to boost Hidden Weapons, so draws 2, gains a gauge, gauge. That was clearly indicated to be a boost. Yeah, there's a convention of turning boost sideways when they interplay. This helps to make it clear that you are playing a boost. So even if you're not in voice with the player, there's no ambiguity. Alright, yep, 9 checking that discard pile. 9 probably has access to a focus, or actually, probably could have access to a focus. No, both emeralds are down actually, so never mind. But yeah, might have access to a focus, basically. There's one unaccounted for focus, I think. Obviously, you know, I'm just watching the game sim as y'all. I haven't been keeping perfect track of everything. Alright. 10 life deficit. It's still possible to come back from this. The Viper has a lot of resources at her disposal. Okay. Initiating with 1 card. Assault into block. Okay. So 9's advantage. Viper pays a force from gauge. Takes no damage. Alright. 9 now has 4 gauge again. She might be looking to exceed a second time in the same game. Nope. She prepares. Okay. It's Viper's turn. Also going to prepare. There's a lot of prepare actions on Viper's side. She's giving 9 a lot of time. We'll see if that comes around to bite her. Both players probably becoming increasingly concerned about the other player's reading. Wait. Is Viper that deep into deck after reshuffle? I think Viper reshuffles. And I think 9 hasn't. So 9 is probably actually just trying to make sure that she has conservative plays that will let her not take 6 damage amongst Viper's remaining 8 cards. If I'm mistaken, and see Viper has not reshuffled, this is a completely different game, but I'm pretty sure she has. It would be very unusual for a game at this stage to have a Viper who hadn't reshuffled yet. Yeah, so 9 may not be looking for a reading target, may just be counting to figure out exactly what the 8 remaining cards are, and then try to set up a checkmate. Gotcha. Even if Viper didn't reshuffle, it's still only 8 cards remaining to her, so this is a good time for 9 to figure out what's left. I'm sure that 9 hasn't reshuffled. We'll find out at some point, one way or another. 9 checking her own discard pile, gonna make sure that she knows what her 2 remaining cards are. Also reminding herself of what options are available for effects that let her steal from discard. She has a few of them. Only one left that I can think of. We have a reading. And strike. It is successful, perhaps unsurprisingly. Yep. Azurite Inferno gonna hits. And then let her steal up to 2 cards from her discard pile. Okay. Yeah, so she sends the assault, and then she gets a lot of control over what she picks up. So this is intended to be steal a card from your discard pile up to twice. So she'll steal a card, then steal a card. There's almost always no reason not to. So yeah, she's going to be counting cards pretty carefully and make sure she gets back exactly what she needs in this situation. Yeah, the importance of them being sequential rather than simultaneous is, for example, if you seal Grasp and then Lapis, you seal the Grasp, you pick up Grasp, you seal the Lapis, you pick up Grasp. Speaking of, here's a Lapis getting sealed for Grasp. And here's a Lapis getting sealed for Lapis. So yeah, almost exactly what I was describing, just not quite in the not quite the same cards. Okay, so a Grasp and a Lapis are both in that hand. Possibly an EX Grasp. No, never mind. Sorry, there's one Grasp and one Lapis down, so neither EX is up. But both speed 7s are up, which is important. It is Viper's turn. Viper checking her own discard pile. Okay, we have Cheater. Search your discard pile for continuous boost. Play it paying all costs. Playing lights and striking, probably. With a wild swing. Okay. She is confident in those remaining cards. So this is automatically critical. So the Telegraph is actually just Assault, which would not be lethal. If she hasn't reshuffled, it could be Temple Massage. If she has, then it better not be. Seems like a reasonable gamble. Actually, it could even be a Burning Kick, or Burning Dance, rather, but that would not quite be lethal either. Both players counting cards very carefully to make sure they know what Viper's 6 remaining cards are. And 9 checking her own, probably asking opponent permission to search the deck and shuffle. If your deck is not ordered, then your opponent can give you permission to do that. It's generally preferred that you not, but like, as long as you shuffle afterwards, a shuffle deck is a shuffled deck. Alright. Nine double and triple checking that count. With only 2 cards left, it's possible one of them is very good for this situation, one of them isn't. Might also just try to call out Viper's play with a Grasp if she doesn't believe that that is a speed 5 card. I'm actually not sure what's left myself. That's a wild swing, I believe. Oh! If Viper has not reshuffled, then she wins. And it looks like she hasn't. Draws 3 and then pays up to 4 force. Yep. So as long as she pays at least 2 force, that's game. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal that she hadn't reshuffled there. Yep, pays 4 force for good measure. Alright, that'll do it with Temple Massage for lethal. Speed 6. Alright, the other card in deck was the block, so it looks like 9 was just trying to play the block to be safe. Yep, lost the gamble. Alright. I asked the players beforehand if they were interested in switching to voice. I don't have any Viper screens, so please enjoy this. Cool, cool. Yeah, I think I... Yep, okay. Hey, well played to both of y'all.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad. Good games.
I did not particularly enjoy the first game, however.
I mean, not many people usually tend to enjoy playing against Eugenia.
This is true. She's
Eugenia
notoriously
doing-
salt-inducing.
Yes, the first game was very... It happens. I have to accept it, it happens.
But you know what, though? Hey, you know, the one thing we can definitely say is Viper gave 9 her first loss.
Is that the first 9 loss in the tournament?
Yes, that is the first 9 loss in the tournament.
The first 9 loss.
Huh. Well, I'm surprised it took this long, but kudos.
Yeah.
Great.
9 is very strong. And Hadu came down to a lot of mix-ups
Mm-hmm.
for that to work. The last two cards in his deck were Assault and Temple Massage. So
Mm-hmm.
So
the
I
last two cards were Block and Spike.
Mm-hmm.
So the hope was to get the Block, or play the Lapis Lazuli from hand and avoid the potential Temple Massage.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out.
Yeah, yeah. Do you play the speed 7 to fill up to the speed 6, or do you wild swing hoping for the block? Yep. That's fair. Yeah, so you didn't fill to the lethal case, you were hoping for the block, which would be safe in either case.
Yes.
Understandable. Yeah, from what I've seen,
Yeah.
you tend to be a fairly, like, conservative defensive player, so that decision makes sense.
The reasoning came from Viper being out of steam relatively quickly. If I get the block, I can initiate the Lapis Lazuli, and then go on from there.
True, yeah, if you successfully block the Temple Massage, then you're in pretty good shape. Blocking the Assault doesn't really help you much.
I don't know. Do you still have your hands that you used?
Oh no, I kind of I kind of already just got put it back in the deck. It was just basically like everything else in that hand was just absolute garbage.
Yes,
It
I did.
wasn't, I don't
But
think
I get that. You
but
were not able to beat Rust or Lapis Lazuli with what you had
No.
in hand.
no, but I was able to go Temple Massage into and realize that it was either Temple Massage or Assault, and one of those two is going to be, enough. One of them just kills, and one of them just possibly maims a little bit.
One of them gives advantage.
Yeah, that's true.
The advantage is not that dangerous, luckily. No, not in this situation, of course.
Yeah, not without another cheater on hand, since the Temple Massage was
Yeah.
the other card in deck. If the Temple Massage had been in hand, I think advantage would actually be just as bad, because then you can boost cheater.
Yeah.
Cheater's
no,
really good.
it's just. Oh, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, no, those are actually some really, really good games.
Yeah, really good games.
Yeah, I figured out what I need to do against Viper the next time.
Well, best of luck.
Mhm.
If we see each other again, I mean, I expect we will. You'll have to play against Mix.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know what we need to do next time in this matchup. It was the first time I faced Viper.
Hmm.
I think I gave you too much respect on the offense that Viper has. Completely neglecting a lack of defense and speed outside of sweeping it
Yeah.
out or cheating it out. But yeah, it was a good learning experience, that's one for sure.
Well, we'll see how things go as y'all progress through the brackets. All right. I'm going to jump out of voice, but yeah, just wanted to give y'all an opportunity to say howdy to the stream.
Alright, thank you. Hello, stream.
See you later.
Hello.
See ya.
All right. Well, that's the set. Yep. So there we go. So let's see. Let me just look at the bracket. Okay. So Matex beats Zain. No, sorry, Zain beats Matex. Why am I saying it in the wrong order? Zain beats Matex. That's important. So Zain's gonna fight Mix, who beat Helios earlier. And then where does this person? Okay, hold on. Loser of one fights Helios. Okay. Alright, so then at some point, I guess. Yeah, so Zain fights Mix, and then Matex fights Helios. Alright. And it looks like we have Calavantes versus Petersonian at some point to see who fights Banazama and who fights Chico. Yeah, bracket shaping up to be pretty exciting. Okay, hope y'all enjoyed the stream. Let's see. Switch over to this. Where's the... Yeah, there we go, the one with fly tree. Oh, yeah, so I've been... He goes by Joalla now, sorry. I'm gonna roll out, and I'll see y'all next time. Oh, right, and hour and a half, drink water, it's good for you. Stay hydrated. Bye.